Hari let out a deep sigh as she stood still, holding a cart filled with expensive food. Her face was filled with dread as Leon had only been on Earth for 4 days, yet a lot had happened that had caused Hari to lose all hope. The first problem arose when Hari approached Leon about taxes. Leon shouted at her, questioning how a king of another nation could be asked to pay taxes. She suggested he could pay using mana stones instead, but Leon dismissed the idea, stating that a king should not concern himself with such matters and that it was the responsibility of those beneath him. He told her to stop talking about coins, as it was not his job. Hari's face turned into a perplexed expression, thinking, "What the heck, man? I'm just trying to do my job." The second problem occurred when they gained new followers due to the introduction of divine power into the land. An elder asked how much they should pay in taxes, and with a serious face, Leon replied that they should pay him $19 trillion and 90% of their crops. He sarcastically remarked how generous that was, causing the elder to take a step back in fear. The taxes and cost of living were already overwhelming, and the 90% crop yield requirement seemed insane. But Leon interrupted, stating that as followers of the goddess, they shouldn't worry about being hungry. He assured them that welfare, cost of living, and food would be taken care of by his guild. Hari then showed them a piece of paper, saying that the rice had an insanely high appraisal value, revealing the exorbitant price of 150,000,000,000,001 for 80 kilograms of blessed rice, which surprised the elders. They praised Leon, realizing the enormous amount of money they could make even after the 90% tax deduction. Money ruled, or so they believed. However, the biggest problem was Leon's residence. Leon and Hari were in an apartment, and Leon started shouting about how it looked like they were in the midst of a battlefield. He complained that the place provided for him had no artwork at all. Hari could only remain silent as Leon vented his frustrations. In his rage, Leon demanded a luxurious bed, servants always on standby, and artwork that he could admire at any time. Hari had to spend countless hours until 2 a.m., calling 5-star hotels to find a suite room for Leon. She even had to kneel before him, begging him to go to sleep. Eventually, they compromised on having a painting or ceramic piece on display in the room. This brings us to the present, as Hari calls out to Leon, addressing him as Your Majesty. He tells her to come in, and Hari brings over the cart, asking if Leon is feeling okay. He assures her that he is alright, and she informs him that it's time for breakfast. Leon asks if she has eaten, and she tells him she hasn't yet. Leon advises her to eat whenever she can, and Hari takes note of his advice. A variety of delicious food is laid out on the table for Leon to eat. Hari looks at the glorious food and thinks about enjoying a sandwich later. But Leon surprises her by telling her to take a seat. Hari is shocked and tears up at the thought of Leon sharing his meal with her. She calls him Your Majesty and happily giggles as she sits at the table. However, Leon interrupts her, asking what she is doing. His intense glare confuses Hari, and he questions her actions instead of ensuring that the ribs are easy to eat. Hari explains that she thought they were going to share the food together, but Leon refutes that claim, stating that a country's king and peasants do not dine together. Upon hearing this, Hari falls silent and refrains from speaking further. Below the hotel, a black limousine is seen. Hari informs Leon that the Hunter Association has decided to provide him with support funding and resettlement aid. She assures him that while it may not be as good as a palace, they have made sure to make him comfortable. Leon responds, expressing his gratitude and stating that he shouldn't ask for too much as he is just a guest. He decides to leave it to them to take care of it. Hari turns around to ask him about the distribution of the loot, but Leon reminds her to take care of it herself. However, he mentions his desire for the cape. Hari nervously agrees to his demand. Soon, they arrive at a beautiful tall building. Hari informs Leon that they have arrived near the Hunters Association, and the building has a helicopter pad on the top floor for convenience. She remarks that it's not bad, but Leon simply grunts in response. He looks at a statue that resembles something you would put in your butt, wondering what the heck it is. They enter the building, and to Hari's surprise, someone greets them. She asks the person who they are, realizing that Leon being here was supposed to be a secret. The man says it's a coincidence and introduces himself as Park Jang-chan, a member of the Doyoung Group and the director of Food of the Future. Hari weakly smiles upon hearing the name Doyoung Group, as it is one of the 3 major conglomerates in the nation, basically a really wealthy company. She wonders why a director is waiting for them. Jang-chan opens his eyes and glances somewhere with an evil intention. He reaches out his hand to shake Leon's, remarking that he must be the famous survivor. Hari realizes that he had already known they were coming here. Jang-chan greets Leon as Dragonia Lionheart with an evil smile, but Leon remains silent. Leon shows a disgusted face, questioning why a mere merchant wants to shake hands with him. Later on, Hari and Leon are in a room. Hari explains to Leon that the Hunter Association will provide him with this place for a year. They will take care of utilities and rent, and he can use room service and have cleaning maids. Leon stares out of the window and simply says, Hari feels relieved, knowing that information regarding survivors is top secret. Given the unknown intentions of Jang-chan, she is glad that Leon ignored the director. Hari turns to ask Leon why Jang-chan wanted to see him, and Leon replies that there is only one thing a merchant would want: profit. Hari repeats the word profit and soon realizes that it's because of the blessed rice in the Honam Plains. Due to the urgency of the situation, the management of information did not go smoothly. A streamer recorded the situation, and the Hunter Association requested for the video to be deleted. Hari looks at her phone and realizes that the person had re-uploaded the video under the account name Farmer Mr. Park. Another phone is shown, belonging to Jang-chan, who is cursing at Leon for being an arrogant little savage. He asks a worker if they are sure about the rice's effects since it hasn't been tested on humans before. The worker hesitates to answer immediately. A lady appears, informing Jang-chan that they visited the owner of the rice field to gather more information. She explains that a dying dog suddenly recovered fully after eating the rice, and people with various illnesses felt better and were cured after consuming it. She adds that all kinds of minor and major diseases throughout the village were cured as well. Hearing this brings a smile to Jang-chan's face, as the effects of the rice have already been proven. However, his expression soon turns to anger as he recalls Leon calling him a mere merchant. The lady informs him that they must obtain the rice at all costs due to its unlimited potential, and Jang-chan agrees. He slams his hand onto the table loudly, questioning how Leon dares to look down on them. His rage intensifies as he believes that Leon has messed with the wrong enemy just because of some fancy rice. He smirks, thinking of overpowering Leon with culture shock, as he dials his phone while calling Leon a savage. When Leon returned to Earth, he set himself 3 goals. The first goal was to spread faith in divinity. Earth had many gods and followers, but the most important aspect, divine power, was non-existent. As gods, they were supposed to embrace faith and bless the world. However, humans were falling sick, and the lands were becoming contaminated. To utilize divine power, a new faith was needed, hence the importance of more people believing in a new god. The second goal was to establish the Knights Templar on Earth. An organization of fighters using divine power did not exist. If the guardian of the Holy Grail, the King of the Lion Heart, was considered a demigod, then the Knights Templar were saints. They were the knights of the gods, wielding divine power and bringing terror to evil. The last goal was to eradicate all evil thriving on Earth by reclaiming divine power and raising the Knights Templar. As Leon stood near the window, he contemplated the need to spread faith and maintain balance and order within the pantheon to raise the Knights Templar. Though the idea of Knights Templar in this place seemed far-fetched, it didn't matter to Leon as fulfilling his duties was all he needed to do. Hari called out to Leon, informing him that someone had officially requested to meet him. Leon acknowledged this and suggested they hear the person out since they had followed the proper procedures. Later on, Jang-chan and 2 other men entered the room where Leon resided. Jang-chan thanked Leon for permitting the meeting, but Leon simply stared at him, deep in thought. His eyes held a penetrating gaze, as if peering into the man's very soul. Externally, Jang-chan wore a smile, claiming he had brought a small gift. Internally, he regarded Leon as a stupid savage and felt compelled to bow down to him for the sake of business. A large silver case was unveiled before Leon, and John-chan urged him to accept it, anticipating Leon's surprise upon seeing its contents. John-chan had brought a top-tier luxury item that someone like Leon could never dream of encountering. He sneered at the thought of Leon begging him to be his manager. Finally, Leon responded, stating that since John-chan had put in so much effort, he would take it. John-chan smiled happily at his reply, asking Leon to inspect it first, though he couldn't comprehend what was wrong with Leon's attitude. Annoyed, Leon instructed Hari to open it instead, as he lacked the energy to explain etiquette to John-chan. Hari approached the silver case and tapped it, causing steam and smoke to emerge. Startled, she observed its contents, while John-chan giggled. The open case revealed a collection of elite weapons, renowned possessions of the Duyung group. John-chan intended for Leon to choose whatever he desired. Hari asked if these weapons were unique ranked items crafted by the master craftsmen of the Duyung group. John-chan gleamed with pride, confirming that they were all of unique rank, the cream of the crop. John-chan explained to Leon that since he was becoming a hunter, these weapons would greatly assist him. Hari couldn't believe that John-chan was freely offering such extraordinary weapons. Her mind raced at the thought of these items, which couldn't even be purchased with money. She had only seen them on YouTube while she was a student. However, Leon declined the offer, considering these glorious weapons as low-ranked. Both Hari and John-chan were shocked to hear Leon regard these magnificent weapons so dismissively. Leon clarified that one cannot forge a good sword without the star's aura or a holy blessing. He questioned if they only used weapons to hunt beasts. Sweat trickled down John-chan's face as he pondered Leon's thoughts. He believed Leon meant that weapons should be sun-dried like peppers and receive prayers from a priest. Leon called John-chan unfaithful, but John-chan brushed it off as a misunderstanding. Leon then remarked that merchants were obliged to flaunt their items wherever they went. He conjured a sword in the air, considering the weapons John-chan brought as suitable only for killing chickens and cows. Nonetheless, he was willing to give them a try. John-chan and his men were astonished to witness Leon summoning an old sword into the air. They wondered if that was all Leon possessed and if they had gravely underestimated his weaponry. John-chan expressed his desire to see what Leon's sword could do and called out to Hari, asking if she would be willing to try one of those weapons. Hari was taken aback by the request but sought approval from Leon, who nodded in agreement. Hari approached the silver case, contemplating her choice. Eventually, she grasped the handle of a sword and unsheathed it, revealing a sharp blade emitting a red aura. It was the sword she had admired for 4 years, crafted by the master craftsman Park Jinchul, nicknamed Dawn. She examined the sword closely, feeling its power. She realized that it truly absorbed the dense sun energies from the special gate for 10 days. Hari asked Leon if she could truly wield the sword, to which he questioned why she needed permission to swing a toy. Internally, John-chan insulted Leon, calling him a bastard. Hari prepared herself to swing the sword at Leon's own blade. Flames began to flow around her sword as she focused her mind. Leon sat calmly, flexing his blade. She raised the sword high in the air, its flames erupting fiercely. With immense power, she swung down, releasing torrents of flames, declaring, "Here I go." However, her blade shattered into pieces, leaving Hari and John-chan shocked. Hari stood frozen in disbelief as her sword broke, while Leon's blade remained unscathed by her powerful attack. Leon tossed his sword aside to keep it, expressing that it was worse than he had thought and a waste of time. He glared at John-chan, informing him that he would limit the meeting to 3 minutes. John-chan, like a submissive person, was unable to respond. He couldn't fathom how the Duyung group's strongest weapon had just shattered before him. Attempting to regain his composure, John-chan bowed his head, along with the members of his group, to request the patent rights over the rice grains from Leon. Leon expressed his confusion, prompting John-chan to swiftly assure him that they would pay for it. He stated that the group would offer 180 billion won, knowing well that the rice capable of curing cancer was worth more than that. Leon inquired if he intended to purchase the rice using money, while Zhang Chan believed there was no way Leon could grasp the true value of the rice and that he would go crazy once explained. Upon hearing Leon's response, Zhang Chan thought he had outwitted him, explaining that Leon would have to sign a contract with the Duyung Group to gain a monopoly over it. Leon interrupted him, labeling him an imbecile merchant. Anger flared within Leon in the form of a glorious lion as he questioned Zhang Chan if he had dared to insult divinity. The immense strength of Leon, whom they called Big Daddy, made Zhang Chan and his group feel overwhelmed and powerless. They were like scared little puppies facing his intimidating presence. Zhang Chan trembled in fear as he witnessed a gigantic lion with glowing amber eyes, believing his life was about to end. Leon looked at him and called him a fool, stating that he had confessed his sins. Overwhelmed, Zhang Chan fell to his knees and admitted that he didn't fully grasp his mistake. With a wave of his hand, Leon released the immense pressure and asked Zhang Chan how ignorant and uncivilized he could be. Leon explained that the crops came from land blessed by the goddess Demira. The blessing was a reward for hard-working farmers who toiled in the fields, and it couldn't be bought with money alone. A grateful heart and faith were required as payment. Leon berated Zhang Chan, labeling him as a child and a deceitful creature who chased after profits while deceiving others. He then asks him why he wishes to possess the divine products from a goddess he did not believe in, but Zhang Chan could not reply as he clenches his fist. As night fell, Hari asked Leon if it was wise to let Zhang Chan go like that. She explained that although he was a lowly merchant, he held significant influence. However, Leon dismissed it, stating that he wasn't affected by someone as vulgar as Zhang Chan. He changed the subject and inquired if Hari had prepared what he asked for. Hari brought something over, mentioning that the association had called. Her eyes gleamed with hope as she asked Leon if he planned on taking the test, which would make things easier. Leon looked at her in surprise, questioning why he would need to be tested as a king. Shocked by his response, Hari asked why he wanted to participate. Leon revealed his intention to search for skilled soldiers and asserted that he would be the one to test them. Hari quietly acknowledged the difficulty of his request, but Leon insisted that she make it happen, bringing tears to her eyes. Suddenly, a voice announced the arrival of D-rank hunter Gu Daesung, who greeted team manager Kim Do-han. Do-han asked if Daesung was here for a retest, thinking that he sure works hard, but Daesung just laughed in response. Do-han inquired if he was aiming for a higher rank this year, and Daesung humbly replied that he would do his best. Do-han offered Daesung a spot on his team, but Daesung hesitated, considering the fact that he had been a D-rank hunter for 10 years while even those without talent had advanced to C rank. Do-han praised Daesung for his dedication and skills, predicting he would become an ace quickly. Daesung agreed, having worked hard for 10 years, but his determined gaze revealed his desire to continue and improve. He thought about his family and the difficulty of paying off debts with the earnings from dungeon raids. He needed to raise his rank to C in order to no longer be a burden. While lost in thought, Do-han informed him about a foreigner who caught their attention. They wondered if he was European or a foreign laborer, observing Leon, who had a royal appearance. A voice called out to Leon, grabbing his attention. Do-han approached and greeted him, but Leon remained silent, emitting a menacing aura. Leon asked why a peasant was speaking to him, almost sending Do-han to an early grave. Daesung observed the scene with shock. Do-han explained to Daesung that Leon had learned Korean in a peculiar manner, and Daesung agreed. Leon locked eyes with Daesung, causing him to tremble in fear. Leon emanated an intense aura, giving off a dominant presence. Do-han asked Daesung what was wrong as his body began to tremble. Daesung couldn't help but wonder what was happening, looking at Leon, who exerted immense pressure, making him feel small and insignificant. An employee called out for number 57, Gu Daesung, instructing him to proceed to interview room 2. Daesung acknowledged and prepared to go, but Leon continued to gaze at him while he interacted with the employee, thinking there was only one. Leon expressed his disappointment, stating that there wasn't even one person worthy of becoming his soldier. He walked away, considering that only low-ranked individuals or those who had recently awakened bothered to come here and take the test. An announcement called for number 77, Leon Dragonia Lionheart, to proceed to interview room 9. Leon, not expecting much, entered the room and found others inside. One man called out to Leon using his name, but Leon rebuked him, demanding to be addressed as Your Majesty. Initially stunned, the man then complied, addressing Leon accordingly. They asked Leon to place his hand on a measuring device for the test. Leon stared at the object the man was pointing to, contemplating its purpose. He gave it an intense look, wondering deeply. The instructor, noticing Leon's reaction, looked at his chart, but Leon called him a fool. Which made the man confused for a moment. Leon argued, questioning how a mere machine and peasant could test the honor of a knight. The instructor tried to explain that it was the device conducting the test, not themselves, but Leon remained upset, believing that only honorable knights and gods could measure knightly strength. The instructor was astonished and questioned why Leon had come there in the first place. Leon responded that he had come to find useful soldiers and criticized the judges, stating they were abysmal. The judges were shocked to hear that Leon was openly headhunting there. Leon inquired about the next test, and the judges informed him about a test at the gate. Leon expressed that real skills were demonstrated through consistent training and realistic situations. He agreed to participate in the test, surprising the judges. At the Soul Gate, a voice asked if anyone felt dizzy or unwell, mentioning that some people suffered from motion sickness when passing through the gate. The Soul Gate had already been cleared and was left open for specific situations. Daesung thought to himself that this year's strength measurement wasn't much different from the previous year. He looked around, realizing that he needed to do better to achieve a better result. A girl asked her older brother if this place was popular, but he advised her to turn off her phone. Daesung noticed them and recognized them as newbies. An old man beside him remarked on the pleasant air. Daesung assumed that they were all either D or C-ranked hunters. However, he turned around again and saw that Leon was also present. Daesung considered Leon a newbie, questioning whether everything would be alright. Leon, wearing sunglasses and exuding a cool vibe, caught his attention once more. Thanks for watching the latest part from the voice of Manhwa. Subscribe for more content and don't forget to comment below what you want to see in the future, like and share for more Manhwa recaps